Good morning. It's a Friday morning. I just woke up, so that's why I probably don't look all right. But welcome to a migrant's journey. This is episode 25. It's been a great journey so far. 24 amazing stories, and I can't recommend you enough to watch all those. And if you're watching this for the first time, just to give you a brief intro, this series is about documenting migrant journeys, especially the job struggle in the initial days and the culture difference that we face. Usually when you think about migration, it's usually a dream come true, and you think only about the good things and you hear only the good things that are out there. But there are a lot of bad things, there are a lot of struggles, there are a lot of job struggles that specifically happen out there, and that's the idea. But the idea of these series is to give you a reality check of what it is, so that you're better prepared for what it is to come. So this is episode 24. If you want to watch all my previous episode, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. There are 24 episodes. That's like 12 hours worth of content. Definitely binge worthy if you're looking to migrate, or if you're looking for your job at the moment. So that'll be definitely great. If you're watching this live, or if you're watching this replay, please make some noise. Say hi, hello, good morning. The more noise you make, the more these social media algorithms like it, and the more it will be pushed onto different people, and the more happier it makes me as well. So please do that, and please do subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, so that you're notified about whenever a new video comes in. So today for episode 25, we have Raghav with me. So let's go straight to the things. Good morning, Raghav. How are you today?
Morning. I'm sleepy. It's 6:30 a.m. on the
Yeah.
West Coast.
So
So,
I think
but
I did
excited.
not take account of the time difference. Australia is such a big country, and you're
It
in
is.
Perth. Although you're in Perth, it's a 2 hour difference, and it's
It's
6:30
a.
a.m. But it is what it is. Now
I
you're
know,
here.
right?
Thanks for your time.
It's a huge country. It's like a 2-hour difference in the same East Coast versus
Ye-
West Coast.
Yeah.
When I was moving here, I was like, oh, okay, my time is going to change now. But I'm not going to a different country.
Yeah,
But yeah, it is what it
it's
is.
weird. I remember when I took a flight to Perth. I think going to Perth is shorter, but coming back to Melbourne is like a whole 2 hour added to your journey, and it's like what? Okay,
Because it
so
takes time from,
yeah,
coming out of the airport and going into the city. But this being a small city, you don't get to know when you leave the airport and you're okay. Well, okay,
absolutely.
this was
So
short and sweet.
yeah, let's get straight into things, Raghav. Who are you and what do you
Well, I'm a migrant.
do? Hmm.
I came here to do my master's, completed in 2019, and currently I'm working as a data analyst for one of the supply chain solution companies over here in Perth. It's
Hmm.
called Capricorn Solutions. I started with Capricorn in January 2020, so it's
Hmm.
been around 7 months now.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I work as a data analyst.
Hmm.
It's an interesting role. I work with the marketing team. I sit with the marketing team, so I'm a data analyst for the marketing team.
Ah, that's very
Uh,
interesting.
yeah, so it's actually interesting because I'm learning my data analysis and I'm using those skills, but I'm also learning some interesting stuff like marketing and digital marketing and campaigns and some sales and promotion stuff. So I'm really getting some interesting domain knowledge as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So yeah.
marketing is always a very interesting field to be in if you have interest in. So I'm glad that you're getting exposure to that, because in the end, you have to be on your toes, especially in the current generation. You have to kind of be, have to kind of have different skill sets. So really good on you.
Yeah,
So
especially digital marketing, it's a whole new world.
yeah, absolutely.
It's
So
a lot, and the way
let
to go actually.
let's go into the uh, right to the beginning. The moment you decide to migrate to Australia, or rather the moment you decide to come as an international student over here. I usually hear that international students do not prepare much before coming over here, but what's your journey? What was your preparation like before coming over here?
I think everyone does prepare, but these preparations are different. Like you can't quantify them.
Yeah,
Even accepting the fact that you're moving, it's in itself is a preparation,
yeah.
right? So one of the interesting things and funny things actually is I was pretty terrified because I don't come from computer science background.
Hmm.
So I opted for information systems, although I was working in IT, but there were still some subjects that I wasn't sure about, but they were like core subjects. So I actually started studying Java
Oh,
1 month before I came here because I got some heads ups that hey, you're going to Monash and Java could be an obstacle, and I did see it. I think it's one of the subjects has the highest failure rate.
oh, really?
Yeah, students are just not able to pass the assignments, and it's very common to fail in that subject.
Hmm.
So actually 1 month before coming here, I looked at my all the subjects and picked so that I should start working on these, and it really helped me out
Oh,
because
that's
in
very
masters
interesting.
the subjects are they go very fast. In three
Hmm.
months they teach you everything. So I was actually studying Java and
So
it did help me.
that's good advice. But was studying Java just good for you to pass this subject, or was it good in general for you to understand how things work over here?
Well, my approach at that time was to pass the subject.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it wasn't really helpful to understand how things work over here. So in that perspective, I read a lot of blogs, and Quora was my best friend.
Hmm.
Some of the people they had, if you go to Quora, there are few people who have this whole plan set out for international students that
Hmm.
these are the things that you do in the first month, the second month, these are the things that you should not avoid, and these are the things that you should focus on. For example, things like part-time jobs and things like that.
Hmm. Oh, that's really nice.
We know when we are back in our home country that okay, so there's a concept called part-time jobs and everyone need to do that, but what really are they, and how do you get one, and should you get one, and how much can you really earn? There are huge differences what when you talk to people over here, and they're like that you can easily earn $1,000 or
Mm.
$1,200 per week from the day you land, but it's not like that. There are a lot of different things, the kind of course you are getting into, and the time of the amount of efforts that you would be able to put into your part-time job. So these posts are like a reality check,
Yeah.
that it's not like a cakewalk, that it's not a there are no money trees.
Mhm.
It's really hard to manage your university degree and your part-time job.
It's very interesting. I have to look up the Quora post as well because I'd like
Well,
people to
I'll
read
show.
it. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
people to read it before they come here. Don't just come here and think that they can figure things out. Preparation is key here, and I definitely have to look up that Quora. If you have that link, please do share it with
sure,
me.
sure. I will.
Yeah. So
Then
I
I
think
watched a
that
video of
yeah.
slangs as well.
Oh,
So, I think
yeah.
everyone does
Yeah.
that.
So now I think you were better prepared when you came here, just because of the way you mentioned how that Quora post, guided you. What was the reality like? How were the first few weeks or months like after you landed here, with regards to culture primarily, and with regards to studies and everything around those, because it's a completely different world out
It is a completely different world out here. Number one, with the culture, my even though I was working full time back in India as well, but uh, the lifestyle I would say is very different from where I come from. You need to do your own cooking.
here. Hmm.
You need to do your own grocery. I mean, a lot of people do their own grocery in India as well, but over here, you need to understand that what you can eat and when you can't eat
Yeah.
as well, especially for vegetarians.
Hmm.
I was a meat eater, but I wasn't a big meat eater.
Yeah.
So adjusting to these things, and then I would say for the first two semesters, it was a mess, right? You have to juggle between a lot of things, managing your assignments and finding a part-time job and transportation,
Hmm.
and even like talking to people. I was an introvert when I came here, but my even my odd jobs helped me a lot.
Hmm.
That I opened up with people, I started talking to people, and that these odd jobs where I started talking to native people, I think that experience has been helping me out till day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's how you get to know about the culture.
Yeah.
Just talk to people and don't talk to your people. Just talk to people who you would never like to talk to. Maybe, in the first few months, that are you maybe the different nationalities
Yeah.
or people from different jobs and stuff like that. Just talk to those people who you would be generally scared of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree to that. Although, Google Core and all these platforms give you everything, all the theory knowledge, in the end, if you don't talk to people, if you don't do it, if you don't practice it, it's a waste. It's a completely different experience when you actually do it. And I also highly recommend that don't just talk to people in your community, get out there and talk to different people. Because if you just wanted to talk to your community, you would have been better off in your country rather than being here. I mean, that's not why you're here for. You're here to grow. You're here to live a better life or a better quality life over here. So you have to adapt to that, right? Without that, it becomes pointless. So I missed to ask, which year did you come to Melbourne in?
2017.
2013. So you came
Yeah.
before me,
Till
actually.
July 2000. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And now let's get into the job search side of things. Again, completely different scene compared to where we come from. When did you actually start looking out for a job? And I'm sure over time your approach kind of evolved. But when you started, what was your experience like, and what did you actually do?
When I started looking for a job, well, honestly, I was one of those that I didn't believe that I'll get a job. So, because I was like, because you start benchmarking yourself with your everyday life. So I was
Mm,
like, if I can't get a job at 7-Eleven or at Coles or at Woolies, then how would I be able to get into the IT industry or,
mm,
wherever I want to be into?
mm,
That's how you start benchmarking yourself. And I know this our perspective over here is my current job or IT job, but I really want to say that, the odd jobs that the bad loop of odd jobs that we talk about, just don't get stuck in there, and just make time for other things as well. My odd jobs have helped me out a lot,
mm,
right? Because honestly, over here your people skills matter a lot. And I would say my first substantial job, which actually helped me to get where I am, was my first sales job.
mhm,
I worked for Vodafone and I started talking to people. And over there, I got to know, I had few friends that who made a switch from Vodafone to big IT companies. And I was like, how are you doing this? And they were like, because even though you're doing a sales job, you have kind of entered the industry now.
yeah.
I was like, okay, but I'm looking for an IT job, and this is a sales. And they're like, uh, in Australia, it's all about the workforce.
Yeah.
Focus less on the domain.
Mm,
Focus. They want someone who is more adopted to their culture.
mm,
And that's when I started believing, okay, I am accepted by their culture now,
mm,
so let's move towards IT now. I'm already in the culture, so
mm.
it was more of an acceptance that yes, now I can. And that's when I started looking out for my IT job and started updating my resume, and then things happened.
Yeah. That's very interesting. You mentioned about the bad loop over here, and this is something most international students get stuck in. So, can you explain what it is and why
I
it
don't
is bad?
I don't I no, people say it's bad loop. I would never say it's a
Yeah.
bad loop. Yeah, honestly, I've done like 7 odd jobs,
Hmm.
which you wouldn't see on my LinkedIn profile right now.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's a bad loop. I think it's all about priorities.
Hmm.
Uh, many times these bad loop, they can pay you well as well,
Yeah.
right? So you might be earning equally good in these jobs as well as as you earn when you start off with your IT industry or anything like that. But the whole point is that but just don't get lured away with the money.
Yeah.
That's what I tried to do. Like, even if there's an opportunity to earn more, what I tried is keep time for your industry learning
Mm.
and just remain focused on what you actually want to do. So just learn to say no, because
Yeah.
Because sometimes what happens is like even getting any kind of job in Australia, like for immigrants, when you
Mhm.
come over here is a real struggle, right?
Yeah.
So when you get your first job, doesn't matter whatsoever it is a kind of a win,
Mm.
right? And do celebrate it.
Yeah.
It's not about, everything you do is do celebrate it, but just be mindful that that's not what you have come to do.
Absolutely.
But you have to do it,
Yeah.
right? So you have to manage your expenses and everything. So just do the bare minimum that
Yeah.
is required, and even if you can get your 4 or 5 hours,
Mm.
save those and put it into something else,
Yeah. Absolutely. And
which
that.
which might contribute towards your, ultimate what you want to do.
Yeah, I absolutely agree to that. I hear this a lot from international students that they get stuck in this part-time job circle, and the money is good, and they kind of go behind that. And to job search here in Australia, you have to spend time networking, specifically networking. And when I ask, do you go for networking events or do you attend networking events? They say, I have my part-time schedule right at that time, so I don't get time. So it doesn't work that way. If you're
It
working a
doesn't.
part time, you can't.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to invest time in job search. No one is going to give you a job because you are busy, right? So you have to
right.
invest time in
It's
that.
not
And
an extracurricular
yeah,
activity.
absolutely. So it's something that you can't run away from. You have to do it. So if your focus is part time job, then you get stuck in that. Some people think, uh, let me get a PR, then I'll get a job, but that cycle will
It's
never
nothing's
end.
nothing's gonna change after that
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
if it's been 4 years, you have not done it, then
yeah,
yeah.
it's
I
a
mean, keep.
never ending cycle.
Yeah, what I would like to say is like, yeah, just do the right things.
Mm.
I mean, it's all about management. So these part-time jobs and everything, they're not bad, but especially for networking and meetups like thing, I still see a mindset where people do consider it like an extracurricular activity,
Yeah, absolutely.
So my point would be that maybe I was one of them as well. Just start doing it once,
Mm.
just go there once or twice, and then you'll actually get to know that is it a waste of time, or is it actually what you should be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah,
It's just the first step, I would say.
yeah, yeah, that's one step. But also keep in mind that it's a slow process. You have to understand what happens in these events, and you have to experience this in real life. You might
Yeah,
listen to hundreds of theories out there, but unless you experience it, you don't get with it. Now,
yeah, it's not about, you can't expect. This is one thing as well, when you have your huge student debts on you, and then you have your part-time job, and then you start doing networking, and then you just don't expect very quantifiable things out of that. That's
mhm,
I've been asked from my friends as well, okay, you went to this meetup, what did you get out of it?
mhm.
I was like, I got pizza and wine. I mean, that's the whole,
Yeah.
just understand this networking, it's not a recruitment drive.
I hear this every time. One of my connections, they said, I've been trying to get my friends into these online catch-ups that I do, but their question is, have you got a job? No. If you haven't got a job, if when you get a job, let me know. Then I'll attend. It doesn't work like that, right? I mean, that's not the purpose of networking even.
That's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
So, in your job search journey, is there any bad or learning experience that you had, or completely different experience? There something that go uh, very differently to what we expect. So, in any such experiences that you'd like to share in your job search journey?
Well, I would like to say that I believe that when I started looking out for a job or a job switch, I maybe there were a lot of things that I was doing wrong,
Hmm.
right? I was, putting out a lot of applications and nothing was happening, right? So that's one point that when I talk to my friends right now as well, is that, if you have put out 50 applications or 60 applications, so nothing is happening, right? So there are some things that you're not doing. Cover letter every time,
Hmm.
right? And I put huge efforts in, like 3 to 4 hours would go, just changing my cover letter and matching it up with the job description and everything. But then I came to know that maybe a lot of recruiters, they don't even read the cover letter. right? So and it would delay my application process as well,
Yeah.
because if you really want to edit your cover letter every now and then, one in one day I could just do one. So
Mhm.
only one application was going out in one day, and
Mhm.
next day I would be frustrated that, oh, I have to again now change it. But then I became aware of it's like maybe they just don't read it. It's all about all the keywords and all the power words,
Yeah.
and that's all they need to know.
Yeah.
So it's in your head that you are putting up a story over there, that this looks nice and this doesn't look nice, but it's really just the first few lines that they read.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So this was, I think, one of the things that I was doing wrong.
yeah, absolutely. And it again depends on the perspective of the recruiter and who you're applying to. Do they have huge volumes? They're not going to look at your cover letter first. I
Yeah.
mean, they look at your resume and then come to the cover letter, may or may not be. And interestingly, this is again a personal choice, but the most recruiters that I talk to say, they don't read the cover letter, right? That's not an excuse for you to not invest time on your cover letter. I'm not absolutely
Definitely.
not saying that. You should
Definitely.
have
Yeah.
a cover letter, but keep this in mind. If you want, you can ask a recruiter, do you need a cover letter? Even that's fine. If they say no, then you don't have to do it, right? So there are different things that
Exactly.
you can do there. So don't think every recruiter behaves the same way. Every recruiter has a different perspective on how things work. So that's a very interesting point that you shared there, Raghav.
And it was a surprise to me, because I was like putting in so much effort. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. So it is what it is.
Actually, my application process became easier from that day.
That's a very interesting point. You managed to secure a role, a part-time role when you were studying, which kind of
Yeah.
rolled on to a full-time role as well. So, how did that work in the beginning?
Uh, it was like it was a startup,
Hmm.
and they were looking out for someone with data visualization skills.
Hmm.
And I recently had started upskilling myself in
Yep.
things like Tableau and Power BI, and I think it was just uh, the right time, and that's all. Yeah, it was just
Absolutely. I
it was
think
I wouldn't say I was very lucky or something. It was just I was just at the right time and at the right
sometimes
place.
being at the right time, right place is all you have to be, and
Yeah.
some people call it lucky. But the way I see it, everything that you did before that created that luck or created that time and place, so you definitely played a part in that as well. So today we are taking a slightly different focus on job search. Usually we talk about the first job struggle, but it's any job search. If you think, if you get the first job, the second switch will be easy. Raghav's story is proof that it's not easy, and I've talked to so many people saying, after the first job, I thought, local experience, blah blah blah, and I would get the next job very easily. It's not the case. Every job search is a struggle. uh, and you have to be on top of things. Don't think that after you get your first job you can log out of LinkedIn forever. You don't have to network to anyone. I mean, that's past. No, that if you think that's past, that will come back to haunt you one day. So uh, so what happened in your second job search? I mean, after your first role got
As a
yeah,
Yeah.
how was the second job search, Raghav?
My real struggle started when I was making the switch, actually, because I said with the first thing, it was I was just at the right time and the right place.
Hmm.
And maybe the things that I started coming to your meetups when I was already in this job, and I started applying, and things were not moving, and I was like, oh wow, now what next? Now I have the local experience as well. But yeah, then there were things that I was not doing wrong. I was doing wrong, so I started looking out for the solutions. That, hey, I'm putting out these applications, but things are not moving. So what are the things that it was pretty evident that I need to do something else now,
Hmm.
right? So I started doing some certifications, and this is one thing that I would like to tell everyone, that when the recruiters, I believe that they do look at your certifications or your industrial knowledge. So
Hmm.
sometimes what happens is, like, we as immigrants, we kind of play the victim card,
Yeah.
that we want to be a business analyst, but I don't have the relevant experience. So what do?
Hmm.
I can't do anything. So don't look out for a problem, look out for a solution. There are
Mm.
always things that you can actually do.
Yeah.
What's in your scope. So either it is certifications or even meetups.
Mm-hmm.
I was introduced to there's a very nice meetup that happens in Melbourne. It's called Power BI in a Day
Mm-hmm.
by Greg Nash,
Mm-hmm.
and it used to be a free meetup. um, and this was the meetup that actually introduced me to this wonderful world of data visualization and this wonderful tool Power BI. And so the point is that there are always things that you can do,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
To If the things are not moving,
Yeah.
and if they're not moving, so you need to do something.
Yeah.
And I started talking to people with my friends who were already in the industry and who had recently got a job or something. So just talk to them, and similar to this concept, like just listen to their stories.
Mm.
Just I would even go to the extent of, can I have a sneak peek into your resume, because I just want to see what.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you would see, like, okay, he or she got a job, and pretty much, we were on the similar pages. So why aren't things moving for me?
Mm.
So maybe it's just the first three lines in your resume that
Yeah.
clicked for them, and it's not clicking for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there would be some things that would come out. Just try looking out for what are the
Absolutely.
things that you're not. Yeah.
I like the fact that you said, it's all on you. There are tons of things you can do, but don't just apply and blame yourself for that nothing is happening and play that victim card. In the end, the fault is yours. Entirely, it's yours, even though you don't know it. The fault is
Yeah.
entirely yours because you're not doing the right things. The market condition plays a role as well. I mean, especially in the current conditions, I agree that much may not happen, but there's still loads that you can do to lay a
Yeah.
foundation to what is to come, right?
And especially when you see, like, people are getting jobs every day. Even this, the LinkedIn is the wonderful platform where you get to know that, that, hey, he got a job and she
Mm.
got a job. So jobs are there, right? And you can see from the LinkedIn profile that almost similar, that what skills you have, what kind of experience you have. So there would be some things that they're doing and you are not doing. Just
Mhm.
try to find out what those things are.
Absolutely.
And
So,
I found out by coming to the meetups a lot of small things that actually build up.
yeah. So I think
So
being curious and being curious to what should I do to get a job, rather than um, behaving like a know-it-all. Hey, I have all the skills, give me a job. Rather than having that attitude is key here. And for you, it was meetups that gave this knowledge, or people in your industry who got a job that kind of you tapped into that knowledge to
hmm,
understand what happened, and that's what worked out. So
I did. I would have my friends editing my resume. I was like, "You got a job? Edit my resume." I
brilliant
don't know.
strategy. You had a good set of friends as well. Not everyone does that for you, so kudos to your friends as well.
Well,
Now,
sometimes you have to poke people. It's
absolutely.
like, just approach them in a nice way, and
Yeah.
people, because, like, for example, if someone goes through the same struggle, like you have, in your initial days, and now you're helping people, so
Mm.
you're kind of giving back. So people are there. You just need to reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, that was a brilliant story, Raghav. Thank you so much for sharing that one. Now, in my meetups, I think when you already got a job in my meetups or in any other meetup, you talk to a lot of international students. You know what common mistakes they do. So, do you have any advice for them? Anyone who is just got into their studies or who is preparing to migrate to Australia, for them, what would you advise?
Uh, well, first of all, apply.
Mm.
Right? I've seen, even I was one of them, that you just don't apply and then you crib. So start applying and believe in yourself. uh, there are no superhumans out in the IT industry as well. They're pretty much people like us who just got lucky at some point of time. So, just start this process and things will actually happen. And one thing that I would like to say, because I was doing it in a very wrong manner, because when we start with this application process, we try to put everything in the resume.
Mm.
So for example, if you are applying for a data analyst role, right, just make sure you have all the relevant things in the resume and just leave out rest of the things.
Mm.
I know there are huge discussions when people say that, hey, my odd jobs do contribute to my career and they are considered important over here, but honestly, I didn't find it very useful.
Mhm.
So just be very specific, or just cut down the roles, shortlist the roles that you're applying for,
Mhm.
and put all the relevant things in there
Mhm.
and leave out don't confuse the recruiter.
Yeah.
This is one of the tips that I got, by going into your meetups as well, that
Yeah.
I think, where we have these sessions when we look at the LinkedIn profiles and we cherry pick, you remember that?
Yeah.
We cherry pick the profiles and
Yeah.
then we talk about things. And sometimes I would like, okay, my LinkedIn profile is actually confusing, it doesn't actually tell that what I want to do.
Yeah.
So put in relevant stuff over there,
So
even if you have done a lot of things.
as I say, help them help you. You have to
Ye-
give a clear picture of what you are to them. Don't let them don't make them burn energy to understand who you are. That's your job. I mean, if you don't know what you are, then you can't blame others for not knowing who you are, right? So that's key over here.
And one story that I would like to share is, you might remember that, I wouldn't name him, but the power of networking again, that I got my first real time recruitment experience when I met this recruiter on a coffee catch up,
Mm.
right?
Yep.
And that didn't work out through applying on LinkedIn. It worked out through because someone referred me,
Mm.
right? And this guy, he told me that overnight he had like 200 applications
Yeah.
on that job,
Yeah.
and I was the one sitting with him, and I had not even applied on that job. So number one, power of networking, and number two, he said that obviously he will not read those 200 cover letters, right?
Yeah.
And if he it just make their job easy, because overnight he had like 200 applications. So obviously if you're putting a lot of things over there, he'll be confused. He'll just move to the next profile.
Yeah.
It just take 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
just tell them what they're looking for.
All
That's
right.
all.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for your time, Raghav. I know it was early morning. I know I woke you up
I'll
on your
sleep
sleep,
now.
but so go back to your sleep. But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
And
so much
thank
for
you,
having me.
thank you for all our viewers who are watching live or watching this replay. Remember, if you have any questions for us at all, please leave a comment or on LinkedIn or YouTube, and we'll get back to you. And if anyone would like to connect to you, Raghav, LinkedIn is the best place.
Definitely
Yeah.
101%.
So please connect to Raghav on LinkedIn, and I'm sure you're already connected to me. So shoot me or Raghav a message, and we'll get back to you.
Anytime.
We'll
Yes.
get back to you. So in the meantime, please do make some noise, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, share these videos. Remember, there are almost 12 hours worth of content out there, and there's a lot of golden advices. I mean, if you watched the episode today, Raghav shared a lot of good advices in there, and just think that what is hidden in all those 24 episodes. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Thank you so much, Raghav.
Thank you. Thank you so much for
All
having
right,
me.
so
Have a coffee. I'll have a coffee as well.
so I'll see you all next week with a bunch of new stories, and bye bye. Have a great weekend.
Bye. Thank you.